All right, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Everybody who's watching and things. My name's Brother Ezekiel, and
Shalom, shalom, Gabar, y'all.
this is part two to the teachings of the laws. We kind of had to rush through the commandments last week, but it still be put up and everything, uploaded and everything. So we're just going to start in Exodus chapter 20, and we'll start at verse 1 again. And we'll go down through the commandments and then into the law. So we have enough time now to get this in. So let's go ahead and just start. So Exodus 20 and verse 1.
Exodus chapter 20 and verse 1. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
So as we know, we ain't supposed to worship no other gods outside the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Hallelujah. That's plain and simple. Anybody who's outside the nation of Israel that want to worship the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you must do the same thing as well. Plain and simple. You know, this is like child-proof. Children can understand this. Do's and don'ts. So we as adults, we're still children to the Father. So let's be those obedient children. But let's go ahead.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth.
So do not create any images. No pictures of angels, no pictures what you think God may look like or what Christ may look like and things like that. Mind you, we do give a little visual of what Revelations may break down, and also in the book of Daniel of what the Messiah looked like and things like that. But as far as drawing a portrait of him and putting it up and worshiping him, or putting him on a wooden cross, a metal cross, whatever type of cross it may be, that's idolatry. We're not supposed to do those things. We don't worship nothing else in this earth except the Most High God. We worship him and him only. So let's keep reading.
Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
So that's letting you know that it's a trickle. If you're an adult, a parent, a dad and a mother and things, and you sitting here bowing down, worshiping a stone or anything wood, any idol, any imagery and stuff. Your children are like sponges. They're looking on what you're doing. They're going to do the same exact thing, and it's going to repeat the process over and over and over and over again. Therefore, we're not serving the Most High, and he'll be jealous against us because of the iniquities we're performing, transgression of the laws. So that's why we need to break this habit. We need to get this back in our minds, like, hey, we can't pick up them habits like the other nations have done and have taught us throughout our whole captivity and till now. So let's keep reading.
What was that?
6.
6, there we go. Can't find it in the book. Oh, here we go. And showing mercy. And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments.
So this is the way how we show the Most High love, his actions, keeping his commandments. He says, do this, do it. He says, don't do it, don't do it. If there's no law, there's no judgment for it. Okay? That's even in the New Testament thing. So you can't add or take away from the word. So we have to show love through our actions and through faith as well. So let's continue.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
So you basically making his name without worth. That's what he's saying. All these people that you hear the old saying, oh, I swear to God, I swear to God, I swear to God, and be lying all the time. You know, and some say, well, I didn't say his name. Well, you only believe in this one God and things, so
who
whichever
else you talking about?
Right, who else would you be talking about? So you making his name without value whatsoever, like it's worthless. Like anybody can sit there and do it and stuff. No, you can't be doing that, and you're going to be held not guiltless for it. So there's no room to have any type of atonement for that. You're lying, and we know that's like one of the great transgressions, like blasphemy of the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's keep reading.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Mm-hmm.
6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
So 6 days, you have 6 days. Now, some brothers and sisters on here, I know they don't go by the Greco calendar and things like that. They're actually going off according to what happened in Jerusalem to set forth the new year and things like that, and then count 7 days for the Shabbat. So to a Greco calendar, it may fall on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, a Friday, or a Saturday, or sometimes maybe a Sunday, depending on what you're keeping it on. So 6 days out of your whole week, you got all this time to work and stuff. But one day, the Most High is asking for you, the Heavenly Abba. One day, don't do any works on it. Give me all glory, praise me up, meditate on my word. Give this to me. I'm asking only one day. You can't, just one single day compared to 6 other days I'm letting you to do whatever you need to do. I just want one day, the Father is asking. Okay? So that's what we're supposed to do if you have maidservants. But as we know where we at in this captivity and things, that these jobs, they don't allow you to do those things, like depending on if it falls on an actual Shabbat that you're keeping, they make you work on those days. So now you have to pick another day. That's why Christ gave us what you call time, grace. That, hey, you're doing a righteous act still. So therefore, take this day out for the Heavenly Abba, the Heavenly Father, okay? So that's all he's asking for. Go ahead.
As it, what does it say in the Hebrew for the word rest is actually reflect. So even outside of resting from work, it's a day set aside to reflect, meditate, and have an intimate relationship with the Most High.
Khan. Just like he said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. So we need to reflect with everything's done in heaven. That's why the Father prayer, as it is done in the earth. As it is done in the heavens, so shall it be on the earth. Amen. Same thing. I'm just
right.
What I'm saying. So
right, same translation.
Right. So, but this is what we're supposed to do. So that's what perfects us. That's what Christ said: "Be ye perfect, like your Father in heaven." We can be perfect. We can't use that excuse. I ain't perfect like Christ. I can't be like him. Christ said, "Be ye perfect, sin no more."
Would he give you a commandment you couldn't keep?
Say that again?
I said he wouldn't give a commandment you couldn't keep.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we the ones making excuses not to do these things. We the ones that's being disobedient. So we have to look in the mirror and self-reflect on ourselves with the Son and with the Father. So if we don't do that, then I don't know what to tell you. We being disobedient.
No humility.
Khan, keep reading.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
No, disobey them.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
No, talk back to them.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
No, put your hands on them.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
Go ahead.
That thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
See? So we're supposed to honor our father and mother. If you don't honor them, what makes you think you're going to honor the Heavenly Father that created you and your mother and father? So it's like you're gonna disagree with one, but then follow the one before them and stuff. No, that's not how it works. Because if you're gonna disagree and dishonor your parents, you're gonna disagree and dishonor your the Creator, the one that created us. So it's a domino effect. You have to do it. That's why we explain this to individuals who talk about, well, I'm gonna do this when we make it into the kingdom and stuff. It don't work like that. This is why you have grace right now, to get it right. Practice it. Practice makes what? Perfect. So this is what we need to continue to keep doing. But go ahead, kid.
And true honor of your mother and of your father is always dictated on what they asking you or requiring you to do. Because if you are honoring your mother and father, you're going to honor your heavenly Father above them. He the source of all things. As Peter say, we are to obey God rather than man.
That's right.
So in that context, honoring your mother and father is based on whether they're godly or not, or if their request is godly or not. You should always have a respect for your parents. You should never disrespect your parents or seek to fight or put your hands or anything of that nature. But actually going to the store and buying them a pack of cigarettes, that's not honoring your mother. Because we know cigarettes cause cancer and kill. So if she said, well, baby, go to the store, you're supposed to listen to me. You're supposed to do what I say. You're supposed to honor your mother. No. I'm supposed to keep the commandments first. I'm supposed to be moving in love. And my ultimate love for you wants you to be healthy. So why would I go get you something that'll kill you? I wouldn't actually be honoring you in that understanding. So honoring your mother and father is always based first on what God said do and don't do.
And there's also a kind of a flip side to it too. It tells the parents, don't suffer your children to wrath.
Right.
So it's somewhat in a sense of a balance.
Don't burden your children.
Right.
Don't burden your children. Don't do things to, how should I say, deliberately upset them. Deliberately exhort a sense of unneeded power over them. For example, you in the kitchen and your child is all the way in their room doing what they doing. While you in the kitchen, you call your child down to pour you a cup of water. That's cruel. That's kind of that's making your child angry for no reason. Don't suffer wrath on your children. When you right there, you can make your own cup of water. They aren't slaves.
Yeah, like my dad, he know I don't eat pork and stuff. And, he was sitting there, oh boy, you just need to eat this. It's good for you and things like that. He's not going to continue, he's not going to take a piece of bacon and be like, here, boy,
yeah,
eat.
Right.
Here, boy, eat. Here, boy, eat. Because, in a sense, my reaction would want to, slap that out of his hand. Like, Dad, hey, stop playing, man.
Yeah.
So, in that sense, so it's like, it's a balance with it, but still, if your parents is asking you to do certain things that's not against what the father says to do and things like that, then you're supposed to do it.
Honor them.
So,
take out the garbage. Right. You can't be like, oh man, you are in a different faith of whatever. I don't deal with it, you whatever. I can't take your garbage out, you wicked. No, you're supposed to honor your mother and father. But like I say, she asks you, well, here, come on over here and help me fix this dinner. And you get over there, and it's all types of pork and crab and etc. Touch not, taste not, handle not. We don't have nothing. I can't honor you on this one because I'll be dishonoring my heavenly Father. So it's a balance. And if she, like he brought up, if she knows that this is your walk and your application trying to honor God, she would be suffering wrath trying to tick you off, deliberately starting some stuff by saying, come over here and help me do that. So it would be a balance both with the child and the parent.
Yeah, get the
13.
Yeah, go ahead, read the next one.
Thou shalt not kill.
Hold it right there. It says, thou shalt not kill. We know that, for instance, now some people may be watching this and things, and they may be hearing this the first time, and then they read into Joshua or the book of Numbers and things like that, when the Most High just said, thou shalt not kill, and here they is fighting and killing these other nations and things like that. It wasn't kill, it's murder.
It's murder.
Murder is an unjust killing, okay? So if you're trying to protect yourself and your family, somebody comes in and they're trying to shoot you up, whatever the case may be, you just happen to have a piece on you and things like that. They in your house, they endangering your life and your family's life. What are you going to do? You're going to protect yourself and protect your family. Put your life on the line to protect them and things. Therefore, you may have to shoot this dude away or whatever this intruder may be. Would you be in trouble for that? No.
Here, let me get this verse to back this up. This is Exodus 21, verse 12. Exodus 21, verse 12 lets us know that it was dealing with the context of murder, unjust killing. As it says, he that smiteth the man so that he die shall surely be put to death. See, thou shalt not kill. But this is it. If a man lie not in wait, being on some murderer, serial killer, hiding in the bushes, jumping out to kill you, wickedness, some plot and plan to kill you. If a man lie not in wait, but God deliver him into his hand. So what do it mean for God to deliver him into his hand? Let me get verse 18 so we can see the scenario. If men strive together and one smite another with a stone, or with his fist, and he die not, but keepeth his bed. Oh, so if they do get into a fight, and the man didn't lie in wait on some wicked stuff to try to plot to kill him, they got into it. It was how should I say, an honorable agreement to handle business this way, and God deliver one of the men into his hands. Then we go ahead and read. I will appoint thee a place whither he shall flee. So God will have grace for that man. There will be grace for that man who killed in self-defense, who didn't kill in going out and murdering, hiding and lying in wait, plotting and planning, seeking some wicked device against your brother. No, they got into a situation. It was an altercation. It became violent. God delivered one of the men into the other man's hand. God said, if it happened in that context, I got a place for him. So he could go and for grace, so he could handle and the sacrifice could be made and so forth. So that's the understanding when he says thou shalt not kill. When we look at line upon line, the rest of the context of the Bible is letting us know thou shalt not murder, kill unjustly, kill without no cause.
And we'll get into that because those are other laws and stuff, but we'll get into that. But go ahead.
Thou shalt not bear false witness.
You missed 14.
Did I commit 14? I'm sorry, it's a lot. Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Adultery, now we got to get this straight. Adultery, understanding, is when a married man lays with another married man's wife. That's an adulterer. An adulteress is vice versa. Okay? Now, if an adulterer, a married man, has sex with a woman who is not married and single, that's a whoremonger, a fornicator. Big differences. And the reason why I'm saying it, because you have brothers and sisters out here spewing out, bearing false witnesses, calling this brother, oh, you're an adulterer, when he ain't even married or whatever the case may be, and he's just being a fornicator. See, that's another thing that our people are falling off of, because you're spewing out, chucking stones out your own mouth, and you're bearing false witness. So you're breaking the commandment right there. See, all these little chains and stuff is because we're not learned up in these laws. We don't have this understanding. We just going based off of emotion and opinion. So we need to have this thoroughly understand. So that's what an adulterer is.
And it's given a different context between adultery and fornication, because there is a different degree or ripple effect behind each. Both are wrong, but one has a stronger effect. Because if I'm in a state of being a fornicator or a whoremonger, I can betroth that woman. If she's not betrothed to another man and we constantly fooling around, we could say, you know what, we've been sitting here and playing house for so long, let's go ahead and do this thing right. I wouldn't be destroying a family when I commit adultery. I wouldn't probably be bringing death on me as well, because the husband might want to do something to me. Right, so there's a level of degree or what have you, or end up getting his wife pregnant. You know, there's more of a repercussion behind adultery versus me just being a whoremonger, fornicating with women. Because at least I can betroth her. But then there's still risk in doing that. Because if we just simply fornicating, the Most High said, I'm going to put diseases on you and plagues on you. That's not written in this book, because you playing around. Yep. You won't do things the right way. So that's just the difference in the context of committing adultery and the effects of that sin, and committing fornication or being a whoremonger and the effects of that sin.
Okay. And let's keep reading. 15.
Thou shalt not steal.
Don't need no explanation for that. Straight point. Don't take nothing from nobody. Plain and simple. Let's keep going.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Against your own people. So
wait. You know what? Hold on. Wait, because we said thou shalt not steal, just for a deeper edification and understanding. Some people look at it and say, well, the Israelites, when they went to the heathen people land, we took everything.
Yeah.
So you want to expound on that? Why was it okay for the Hebrews to go over to the heathen land and take their stuff, but why would God turn around and say, thou shalt not steal?
Right. Well, see, there's a difference between stealing, because they didn't go over there and just steal it. They had to work for it. The way they worked for it is worshiping the Most High, and the Most High knowing that these individuals in the land that was home, across the Jordan and stuff, that was Israel, he knew that there were wicked people in that land. So in order to get that land, they had to work for it. And how they worked for it? They went to war. So one way or another, they didn't steal, So if anybody is on here saying, yeah, you Israelites, y'all stole everything, whatever the case may be, no. We went to war for it. And there was battles that were won and there was battles that were lost. And then we had to shake hands basically and said, okay, y'all can keep that part of the land, fine. You just serve us, or whatever the case may be. So in a lot of parts,
made them tributaries.
Tributaries. Yeah, so we didn't steal anything. That's so right. That doesn't contradict the laws at all or the commandments.
That's right.
So that's I'm glad you brought that up. Good stuff.
Hallelujah.
2 heads better than 1.
16.
Okay.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
So we just said it. A lot of people take the Most High's name in vain because they bearing false witness on their brethren, for they don't know the laws, whatever the case may be and stuff. And here it is, you're spewing out, wrong accusations against our own people and things, or against your own brethren. That's not true. Mm-hmm. And then you have a mob of people believe that. And then you just destroyed this man's character because of the lie that you did. We're going to get into a lot of different, there's one in Judges, due to the fact that it's Judges 19. And we'll bring that'll come later. But you'll see what happened dealing with false witness, because somebody said something, because he's well known and stuff. Everybody loves him and things like that. You know what I'm saying? And, he had said something bad about you. Therefore, you're going to believe him because
I got the prestige.
Right. And that's not, you don't know this individual. So therefore, you're still following him. And yet this man was telling you the truth the whole time. But since we're idolizing and we put our trust in man, look what happens.
And you know what? On a deeper level, that's the same way it is with a Christian pastor versus any old body. Here he is. He got the prestige. He got 500 followers. You know what I'm saying? Everybody know, right? $1 million church. He got a radio show. He got this or that. He known. And then he telling you all types of lies. And you like, that's right, Pastor Jenkins.
Amen.
Amen.
Praise Jesus.
And then here come a nobody come along who actually put his heart and soul into researching the Bible. And then he come out and he like, hey, dude telling you a lie. And you're like, hold on, Pastor Jenkins, now he ain't,
No, my elder said this.
Right. But God got to be dealing with him. Look at what he got. Shit, Pastor Jenkins, whoa, Elder Thurgood, whoa. We in that same sense of, the person with the prestige, we'll follow them because we sheep without a shepherd.
And they know, they study y'all. They study everybody. They know for a fact you guys are not reading. Whatever they said, like I said, they could be up there teaching y'all how to bake a cake, and y'all sit there and say, praise Jesus, amen.
Right. Uh-huh.
Did y'all not just hear what he said? Or what she said? I mean, nowadays, even Israel now, it's a bunch of, pulpitting teachers and stuff. But anyways, this is a lot of stuff. This is why we going through these laws step by step by step. Sisters that's in the truth, that's single and things, who don't have a so-called man head over you, but you have Christ and the Father. When you have brothers come up to you and try to spit game to you and things like that, your question should be is,
spit game.
Can you teach me in the scriptures what's the first written law? The first written law in the scriptures. And if they said, thou shalt have no other God before me, say goodbye. Shalom. That's not the first written law. I said law, not commandment. I said law. Okay? Big difference. But anyways, I mean, they're all one, but there's a difference between each and every one of them. But anyways, this is how you don't get fooled into being, like the scripture says, silly women being led away, into error and destruction and things. The same thing go for the men too. You gonna go with your boy because you've been knowing him all your life and he sounds so deep with wisdom and things. So, I'm not worried about that right now. Oh, good looking, Aki. Mm-hmm. Anyways, so all these different things that we going through is we don't know these things because we're not studying ourselves. So that's why I stress on when it says Jeremiah 17:5, cursed be the man that put his trust in man and make it his arm flesh. So don't do that. Okay? So we're trying to tear down that habit that we've been having all our life, So let's continue on with the law, though.
For sure, okay. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
So nothing. You sitting there going in your brother's house and stuff. You see his wife in there and things like that. You sitting there, dang, man, I could do a much better being a husband than he can and stuff. Or, dang, that's a nice camera, JVC. Man, I never had one of those, man. I need to, maybe I should. Maybe when he ain't looking or something. Go on ahead and snatch it off of him and things. You sitting here plotting in your mind. Now you started a chain effect right into breaking every commandment and law that you could possibly think of. Because you thought of that one wicked thing in your mind. To sit there to covet something that you don't have because you didn't work hard for it. Okay? So that's why we need to not be doing these things. Especially we need to be on P's and Q's when we're around other brothers and sisters and things. Most brothers and sisters should admit their faults or their issues that they may have. Like, I got a problem with eating so much. I got a problem with looking at women and, undressing them with my eyes and things like that. Or sisters, the same thing with men. Or whatever the issue may be, should admit this so we all know to help one another so we can sharpen each other. We help get rid of whatever the issue may be, a so-called demon or whatever. Okay? But let's keep reading.
And
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. And all the people saw the thunderings, and the lightnings, and the noise of the trumpet, and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed, and stood afar off. And they said unto Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not God speak with us, lest we die. And Moses said unto the people, Fear not, for God is come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your faces, that ye see it not. And the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near unto the thick darkness where God was. And the Lord said unto Moses, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, Ye have seen that I have talked with you from heaven.
Okay, let's stop right there. Now, this is how I know, because people ask, well, how do you know when the laws are starting and things like that? This is when Moses came off of Mount Sinai, when he was talking with the Most High and got the tablets of stone with the commandments on there. Now we're going to get into what the first written law is right here. Now he's saying, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, Ye have seen that I have talked with you from heaven, talking with Moses. Now, here's the first law. Verse 23, go ahead.
Ye shall not make with me.
Stop right there. Ye shall not make with me. That's the key words, with me. Go ahead.
Gods of silver, neither shall ye make unto you gods of gold.
So you cannot have any other gods coexist, stand next to the Most High, period. You cannot create this, because some people will say, well, that's idolatry he's talking. That's not a law. Or that's talking about the first commandment. No, the key words is with me, the Most High said.
In the commandment it said, before me. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Mm-hmm. Here it's saying,
with me.
With me.
So, yeah, so before me, so you can't put no God above the Most High. Now, the law here is saying with me. You can't have them side by side with the Most High. It's not happening. Okay?
So God said, I don't want you. I want to be of the fullness. Nothing above me, nothing with me. Everything must be underneath.
That's right. Now, that's the first law. First written law, excuse me. Second written law here. Go ahead. Verse 24.
And an altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and shall sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings, and thy peace offerings, thy sheep and thine oxen, in all places where I record my name. I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee.
Okay, so stop right there. Right. So that's the law of the altar and things. So we have the second law right there. It says, if you're going to make an altar, it has to be out of earth, and thou shalt sacrifice on there unto me all your offerings and things like that amongst Israel. Here's the third law. Go ahead.
And if thou wilt make an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it of hewn stone. For if thou lift up thy tool upon it, thou hast polluted it.
So you keep the stones that you use in its natural form, because that's what the Most High created. If you go chipping away at it and things like that, now you're taking away from the perfection of the Most High, basically saying it wasn't perfect enough that the Most High had made in the original form. So you want to create a huge altar that's got engravements and all this other signs and different signs and symbols and things like that and stuff. No, you polluted it.
And this would correspond to two things. The first one would be not to have any markings on your body, because like he said, our body would be an altar, and our thoughts, words, deeds would be our sacrifices that we have thereon to the Most High. This would also connect with Christ. Christ had no bone broken in his body. Christ is the perfect altar for the sacrifice, for our sacrifices that we put on him. We put our sins on Christ. So him not having a bone broken in his body
and no blemish
is also symbolic to the altar being spotless, no blemish, having nothing engraved and broken off of it, chipped, signed on it, etc., etc.
Because like you said, the Most High, the kingdom of heaven dwells in you, for your body is the temple and things. So he made you out original. That goes for makeup too. Okay? Stop adding on. Just, you got natural beautiness, handsomeness. That's what the Most High made you. Leave it that way. Stop adding on to it, But let's keep reading. This would be verse 26 would be the fourth law.
Okay, I got you. Neither shalt thou go up by steps unto mine altar, that thy nakedness be not discovered thereon.
So you're not supposed to make any type of steps onto the Most High's altar and things. So we're not supposed to do these things. But go ahead. Yeah, but when you see the altar, the actual altar itself, they didn't have steps on there. So even when we were in the wilderness, when they had the tabernacle, the ark, and the altar itself, it never had steps on there. So, but yeah, I understand what you're saying to the temple. Yeah, that's just the building, though.
And even when we did get the steps established, what did we do to cover that? We made linen breeches for the priests. Mm-hmm. So the priests put the linen breeches on. So then we did walk up to the altar or whatever, the nakedness was still not discovered.
Okay, that's right. All right, so now we're going to Exodus chapter 21, and we'll start at verse 1. Now, this is what you considered as the fifth law. This is the law of a servant, a Hebrew servant at that. Okay, so let's start at verse 1, Aki.
Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. If thou buy an Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing.
So this is what we're supposed to do according to the law of a servant. Now, mind you, some may say, well, these are individuals' laws, and we count those. Some may count it as that. But this is actually in the context, one whole law in itself, in the order of how you're supposed to do it. Okay? So let's keep reading.
If he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he were married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out by himself.
So basically letting you know, because the master is the one that gave the servant, the male servant, a wife and everything. So with that being said, he came in by himself. So 6 years he served, then 7 he gets to leave. That's the Jubilee, and he doesn't go out with empty hands. The master gives him like flocks, and vineyards and things like that, to take with him and things for the 6 years that he served. So now it's going to tell you now if he loves his wife and his master, so forth and so on. It'll explain it itself. But go ahead.
And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free, then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door, or unto the door post, and his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever.
So basically, when we read the other scriptures that give a thorough understanding in Deuteronomy and also in Leviticus, it's letting you know if you love your master and things, what he would do would take your ear and use an awl and nail it to his doorpost, and therefore you should serve him for the rest of your life because you love being there. His shelter is doing good for you. The raiment, his clothes that he's giving you, the food that he's giving you and things, it's all good. So you don't feel like you need to be anywhere else. You just want to serve him and stuff. And obviously you got a wife and children. You want to stay with them as well. So that's why it says bring it on to the judges and stuff, because if he leaves, then he's going to want to take his children with him and his wife. So they have to go in front of the judges and say, hey, well, okay, they're supposed to serve their 6 years as well. And then on the Jubilee, they could leave as well. But this man is not going to wait 6 years, for his wife and his children to be free upon that. So that's why it's taking it to the judges, and it explains it in Leviticus and Deuteronomy what we'll bring out.
This is actually, there's a law that if she run, she planned to escape her master, and she take her kids and she take off and run, and they hide out, the law is that he is not to pursue after her. And the people who knew, if they see where she escaped to with her husband, they are not to give her up. So the Most High also made that allowance or what have you in the law, that if you want to leave, then you have to do so by night.
Yeah, we'll get into all that because it tells you also a man can redeem himself.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of different things, but we'll get into all that. But let's read verse 7.
If a man sell his daughter to be a maidservant, she shall not go out as men servants do.
Now, some will sit there and say, what, you selling your daughter to be a slave and things like that? No, that's not the case. She's working to make some money, maybe, to help out with something you may need help with or whatever, or just to bring in money. You're doing it now, you guys, and so, sign a contract with the company you're working for and things like that, and you're working for so-called master and stuff, so this is what we're going to pay, for you putting in your time and work and everything. So that's not telling that, okay, I'm just going to sell my daughters to some man and then, that's how it's just going to be and things like that. It's not what it means. It's talking about to make servile work, okay? Meaning you get paid for doing what you're doing, okay? So not slavery has what the so-called, back in the day, the slave masters, they taught only parts of this scriptures to the slaves to keep them blind at the dumb. See, obey your master, obey your master, obey your master. See, that's the problem. And then we do have atheists and Kemetic cats, who sit there and say one part of the scriptures and then blow it all out of proportion, out of context and things like that. But let's keep reading.
If a man sell his daughter to be a maidservant, she shall not go out as men servants do. If she please not her master, who have betrothed her to himself, then shall he let her be redeemed. To sell her unto a strange nation, he shall have no power, seeing he have dealt deceitfully with her. And if he have betrothed her unto his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of daughters. If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. And if he do not these three unto her, then shall she go out free without money.
So right there is speaking of polygyny. Okay, polygyny, not gummy. Polygamy is a husband and a wife who both have an open relationship sexually with anybody they want. That's polygamy. Polygyny is a man with more than one wife. So this is explaining that that's part of the culture. These three things you have to do, otherwise she goes free. Okay? So these are the laws on dealing with the servant. Now let me back on that. Let's go to let's first go to Deuteronomy chapter 15 and verse 12 to give that understanding on the whole servant thing, because some think that you could just sell them to anybody that you want, like a Gentile and things, and that's not true. It's talking about another Hebrew, another Israelite. But let's get it. What did I say? Deuteronomy 15,
Verse 2,
no, verse
12.
yeah.
Yeah, Deuteronomy 15, verse 12. And if thy brother, an Hebrew man, or an Hebrew woman, be sold unto thee, and serve thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. And when thou sendest him out free from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty. Thou shalt furnish him liberally out of thy flock, and out of thy floor, and out of thy winepress, of that wherewith the Lord thy God hath blessed thee, thou shalt give unto him, and thou shalt remember that thou was a bondman in the land of Egypt, and the Lord thy God redeemed thee. Therefore I command thee this thing today.
Okay, that's it on that. So it's letting you know that this is a Hebrew that you're selling or letting another Hebrew Israelite redeem. Okay, so we're not selling our own people into another nation. Okay, period. That's not happening. So a lot of people will sit there and say and twist the scripts on that. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
And in verse 7, where it says, if a man sell, this is in Exodus 21:7, if a man sell his daughter to be a maid servant, she shall not go out as men servants do. Remember, we just read that if a Hebrew man or a Hebrew woman serve you is 6 years, and in the 7th she go out. The reason why this servant or this woman isn't leaving, like in the other context, the 6-year contract, is because she's being sold as a wife. She's being betrothed. This is why in the next verse it clarifies, if she please not her master, who hath betrothed her to himself. So if he betrothed this woman to himself, of course she can't go out free. This is wife. She ain't going nowhere. But if he say, okay, well, you know what? I ain't feeling you. You done something wrong, something unclean, something ungodly. He can't sell her to a heathen nation and let her be sold off to them. Nuh-uh. We don't do our people like that. He have to let her go, and then she'll be out or free for one of our brethren or what have you amongst Israel.
That's like, yeah.
Go ahead.
And that's where it comes in with the so-called bill of divorce.
Right,
the letter
right.
of divorce and stuff, which is explained later on and things like that. So that's why it says master, but in the context, your husband is your Lord,
right?
Is your master and things like that. Because why Christ said the head of every woman is who? Your man, your husband. The head of man is Christ, and head of Christ is the Father. So that's the chain of command. That's how the things need to be done.
Which is why Sarah called Abraham
Lord. Right. So that's like in all submissiveness.
Yeah, that's our culture.
You can't. I mean, I'll tell you, from a man's perspective. If I have my wife calling me Lord and things like that,
She get it whatever she want from me.
and here you go. Take my wallet out. Here you go. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, guy.
That's a question.
Spooky, right? I'm looking at the word Baal as we talking about this, which means husband, master, Lord.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? It's just
What was
spooky.
that word?
Baal, not Baal. It's the two different ones. Baal is confusion. Bet lament. You see what I mean? But Baal is saying in the highest or the house of the highest, which is go ahead. That's master. When you look in the English context of scripture, sometimes they'll have the English word Lord, but it could be one of those many names. It could be Adonai, it could be Yahuwah, it can be Baal, and translate it how they want to in English. Yeah, but just look at the Hebrew and you'll see exactly which word it is. But it's funny because I was on that word this week. It's right here.
That's what's up.
Hallelujah.
Okay. So let's get Leviticus 25 and verse 39 and 55. And when we'll come around to this, then you can mark that as saying that's the whatever number law that is. But we'll deal with that later. Huh?
Polygyny, that was 6 or was that 5?
In Exodus,
Yeah,
from 7 to what is that? 11 is the law of polygyny. Exodus 21:7 to 11 is dealing with polygyny.
Yeah. So. And the whole law on the count of the law of a servant. This is the number I numbered. This was the 5th law. Yeah. Which would be Exodus 21, 1 through 11. So what I'm just doing now, I'm just going, I went to Deuteronomy to give clarification that it's a Hebrew.
Right.
You can't sell them to a
Right.
Gentile nation.
And that contract is different from marriage. That's a straight servitude contract, which we can't give to a heathen nation, or in the contract of marriage. You can't give your wife. You can't give no Hebrews under no circumstances to a heathen nation. Period.
You have something you want to say, Yacht?
Yeah, you say it's Leviticus or
Yeah, we're going to Leviticus chapter 25.
You trying to find it, King?
yeah.
Right after Exodus.
Yeah, it's the 3rd book. I'll wait for you, brother.
All right.
And then we'll read, because it's kind of a little long one, but we'll get through it as quick as we can. Leviticus chapter 25, and we'll start at verse 39. Yeah.
And if thy brother that dwelleth by thee be waxen poor, and be sold unto thee, thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bondservant.
You see that? As a slave servant. So you're
Forever.
not right.
Right.
You're not supposed to, mistreat them or deal with them harshly, like rigor, as it's going to say. But keep reading.
But as a hired servant, and as a sojourner, he shall be with thee, and shall serve thee unto the year of Jubilee.
The 7th year. Go ahead.
And then shall he depart from thee, both he and his children with him, and shall return unto his own family, and unto the possession of his fathers shall he return. For they are my servants, which I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as bondmen.
See that? So you cannot sell your own brethren as a slave onto your own people.
Only as a hired servant.
A hired maid or manservant.
And they got to be released after 7 years.
7 years is a jubilee. Let's keep reading.
Thou shalt not rule over him with rigor, but thou shalt fear thy God. Both thy bondmen and thy bondmaids, which thou shalt have, shall be of the heathen.
No, the Hebrews.
Shall be of the heathen.
Of Israelites.
Shall be of the heathen.
Shall be of the heathens, Gentiles, aliens, strangers, nation outside the nation of Israel. Those will be slave men and slave women. Okay? And gives thorough understanding after that because it's dealing with war and so forth and so on. But keep reading.
Both thy bondmen and thy bondmaids, which thou shalt have, shall be of the heathen that are round about you. Of them shall ye buy bondmen and bondmaids. Moreover, of the children of the strangers that do sojourn among you, of them shall ye buy, and of their families that are with you, which they beget in your land. They shall be your possession.
See that? So this has to do, and like I said, once again, it dealt with war. So when war comes around, you have captives. So captives will serve you because they don't want to die. Okay? So with that being said, you can only make another nation as a bondman and bondservant, or bondmaid, excuse me, not your own people. So that whole thing that blacks sold other blacks into slavery, your Africans sold your own people into slavery, wrong. Africans sold Hebrew Israelites into slavery to another nation, which was the so-called Europeans and stuff. So for individuals that's sitting here watching this, get your facts right and do your studying. Stop looking at YouTube and things like that. Read some literature. Sorry. But anyways, what was you going to say?
I said I wanted to just back you up what you said at Joel about them selling us to the other ones.
Okay.
Where was that at?
And then we'll pick back up at 46 here.
When he said you showed them to the Grecians. I'm trying to find it. Let the heathen, where was it? Is it right here? Is this it? He said you sold my people to the Grecians. What was it? Then Joel 2.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, we'll come back to it. But let's keep reading 46 though.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 46. Yep.
And ye shall take of them as an inheritance for your children after you, to inherit them for a possession, and they shall be your bondmen forever. But over your brethren, the children of Israel, ye shall not rule one another. Ye shall not rule one over another with rigor.
So right there, this is what the slave masters did. Since y'all on here think that this is a white man's book and things like that, wrong. This is what the Caucasians did, our slave masters. They took this part out of the scriptures and they only taught certain stuff. They didn't read these different things. See that? So, and also they flipped the script. So in essence, yeah, we were going through the curses, which we still are today and things like that. Some of us are, but we're trying to lift them off of us because we're trying to keep the law, statute, and commandments. So this is an issue. They flipped the whole script on us. That's why everything is mirrored. And Brother Yazoo, when he's doing his, when he does the Eber, the math and the alphabet and everything, the language, he'll show you that everything that the heathens did, they mirrored it. So they did everything vice versa. From us reading left to right, we were supposed to read from right to left. You see, everything that they're doing backwards, we were supposed to do it the other way. So that's why they cause the confusion. The times, the seasons, the days, the weeks, the calendars, everything. They changed it backwards. So this is why we need to know these laws. But anyways, let's keep reading. Verse 47, because we're reading all the way to 55.
And if a sojourner or a stranger wax rich by thee, and thy brother that dwelleth by him wax poor, and sell himself unto the stranger or sojourner by thee, or to the stock of the stranger's family.
So if you see your own brethren who sells himself,
not you sell him.
Yeah, he sells himself to a Gentile nation. Okay, this is what it's speaking of. He's trying to pay some debt off or whatever the case may be. The issue is,
right.
But it's saying if you see your brethren, this is the law which we must go by. This is still part of the law of the servant. So let's see what it says. Verse 48.
After that he is sold, he may be redeemed again. One of his brethren may redeem him.
Why didn't the good old Uncle Tom slave master didn't sit there and teach that to the slaves, that your own brethren who may be free and rich and stuff come and redeem his people? See that? They didn't teach all this. They lied. This is not, once again, a white man's book. Okay? I'm going to say that again. Read. If you are Kemet, so forth and so on, I'm addressing you guys. Read this book. Okay? Let's keep reading.
Either his uncle or his uncle's son may redeem him, or any that is nigh of kin unto him, of his family may redeem him, or if he be able, he may redeem himself.
So why didn't the slave master sit there and say after the 6 years on the Jubilee, why didn't he let them go? And ain't none of them was saying that I love master, maybe except the house Negro. You know what I'm saying?
Uncle Tom.
But,
As Uncle Tom, right, one of them Uncle Tom.
Right.
But they wasn't saying that either.
Right.
They was right. Everybody wanted to get up out of there.
Yeah, and that's the same. Well, I'm saying like, off the movie, Samuel
what's his name? Django.
Yeah, Django. Like, master, man, Calvin, we
He didn't want to leave.
He didn't want to leave. Now that was what you call.
Dude acted too good in that movie. He shouldn't have acted that role that good. He upset me and impressed me at the same time.
That right there, that's a heathen. That ain't, like it says, all Israel ain't Israel. So he can stay that way.
Yeah.
But let's keep reading. Verse 50.
And he shall reckon with him that bought him from the year that he was sold unto him unto the year of Jubilee. And the price of his sale shall be according to the number of years, according to the time of an hired servant, shall it be with him. If there be yet many years behind him, according unto them he shall give again the price of his redemption out of the money that he was bought for.
See that? So also the slave master was supposed to give some money. Yeah, even if he's a Gentile, another nation or whatever. And he was supposed to allow him, he was paid. And he was supposed to allow him to come back if one of his people came and redeemed him.
Just think, this was like this was old school. This was our culture's view of servitude in a modern context. You work for Walmart. Walmart provides you your house, your food, all of that. Walmart even give you some pocket change on the side. But you got to be at Walmart and make sure all the business of Walmart, the shelves are stocked, all of that. But you go home and Walmart got all that taken care of for you. It's the same thing back then.
But,
and then after you get on your feet, you done stacked up or whatever, you saved up or whatever for them to take care of you working for Walmart's business. Then 7 years, you like, all right, I'm good, I'm self-sufficient, I'm finna go start my own thing.
But heck, even with that, they don't even give you enough to even have those type of things. Nor would they pay you extra for the Jubilee that goes out on the 7th year. So they still being wicked. They only keeping your head nowhere near above water. Like we said, he's still struggling. They was like, here, we're just paying you. It's all generating all that money for themselves and things like that while they slave labor and everybody to think that you making some type of money. So therefore, you and bought you some Jordans, a car and stuff that you still don't own, a house that you think that you buy, but you still paying property taxes on it and stuff. So how you own that when the government could come take it away whenever they feel like it? See that?
We got 4 minutes, kid.
Okay. Let's keep reading though.
And if there remain, 52. And if there remain but few years unto the year of Jubilee, then he shall count with him, and according unto his years shall he give him again the price of his redemption. And as a yearly hired servant shall he be with him, and the other shall not rule with rigor over him in thy sight. And if he be not redeemed in these years, then he shall go out in the year of Jubilee, both he and his children with him. For unto me the children of Israel are servants. They are my servants, whom I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God.
So go tell that to master right now, your corporations and stuff. Hey, you guys supposed to let me go. You know what I'm saying? I'm the servant of the Most High. He said we are his servants, the children of Israel. You see that?
Hallelujah.
So they're not going to tell you these things. They're not going to teach you these things. A lot of them do know it because their system is based off of this, except they take out all the other stuff that you should know about letting you go free.
And since what you were saying, it dawned on me, I got a better understanding of what you were saying about the altar. That was for a personal altar. our own personal altar. We didn't make our own personal altar high enough for us to go up on so our nakedness could be seen. But for the altar that was for the tabernacle and for the temple, both the priest had breeches when he went up and did that. So that was the separation. That's why I said, and if you make an altar out of earth, or if you make an altar out of stone, then don't do that. This is a personal altar like at your house or whatever, for your own worship. So that's better edification.
Okay, let's go back to Exodus 21 and then verse 12, which would be the sixth law.
Exodus 21, verse 12. He that smiteth a man so that he die shall surely be put to death.
So if you hit a man or whatever to the point that that person dies and stuff, you're getting put to death. Okay? So plain and simple. This is the reason why, I can understand why Hamashiach doesn't want us fighting and strifing with one another, talking about turning the other cheek, so forth and so on. This is why we ain't supposed to be doing that, not amongst ourselves. Now, it doesn't say amongst the other nations. It says amongst Israel, okay? But let's keep reading.
We got time.
Yeah, we straight. We'll wait until they come down and let us get us up out of here.
And if a man lie not in wait, but God deliver him into his hand, then I will appoint thee a place whither he shall flee. But if a man come presumptuously upon his neighbor to slay him with guile, thou shalt take him from mine altar, that he may die.
See that? So that's letting you know right there. This is the law of when a man does this, and that's why it says the word presumptuously, like we read back in Psalms 19, 7 through 14. I think it was verse 13, where it says presumptuous sins. That means to be bold, audacious, cocky, arrogant, and things like that. That's exactly what's happening right here, because you're not thinking. You're allowing something else to control you, which would be a so-called demon or devil to run your conscience. So therefore, that's why when you do something and you let your anger get over you and things like that, those are doorways open up for demons to control you and stuff, and therefore you're going to do something that you're going to regret, because at the moment you have no remorse for it. But then after everything is settled down, now you back yourself, your conscience. Now he's like, what did I do? Now you're sitting in jail or in some countries, you get put to death for doing that.
So you can't run up on your brother and be like plotting to kill him out of your rage. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm gonna sit back because you so, like brother saying, you so angry, you so pissed off, you gonna sit back and plot and plan and lie in wait or come up on him or whatever and kill your brother. That's murder. Thou shalt not murder, or thou shalt not kill in that context. Not going out to war for the nation of Israel through the commandment of the Most High, or not defending yourself because somebody trying to break in your house and kill your kids and pillage and plunder your wife. Mm-hmm. Well, then you protect yourself then, and you handle business then, as there's a law for that.
See?
But if you do him wrong, you trying to do somebody and be sneaky and come kill your brother, like what our people do today, lie in wait, do drive-bys, etc., plotting to jump, etc. Yeah. That's thou shalt not kill. That's wickedness. Mm-hmm. That's wickedness. That's not self-defense.
Yep. So let's get the seventh law, the next verse.
And he that smiteth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death.
You hit your parents back in the day, it should happen now, today, and things like that, or will happen when Hamashiach returns, you get put to death. Plain and simple. Okay? We don't have to go into a whole discourse about what it means and stuff. There's no deep saying to it. It means what it says. You even think about laying your hands on your parents, you're getting put to death. Plain and simple. Let's get the eighth law, which is the next verse.
And he that stealeth a man and selleth him.
And he does what?
And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death.
If a man steals another man and sells him, they should be put to death. See that? Why didn't they teach this back in the slave days? Mm-hmm. And they stole how many of our people and things and sold them and still doing it today and stuff? Come on, man. Once again, you think this is a white man's book? Okay. Anyways, So that was the 8th law. Let's get the 9th law. Go ahead, verse 17.
And he that curseth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death.
Laying any type of ill will towards your parents. Oh, I can't wait till they die. And things like that. Saying that stuff in your brain and things. And the mother nations had that very badly. See that? So they should surely be put to death. Or any type of ill will that comes on your parents that you want to think of doing or saying to them. Okay? Let's get the 10th law, verse 18 through 21. Go ahead.
And if men strive together, and one smite another with a stone, or with his fist, and he die not, but keepeth his bed, if he rise again, and walk abroad upon his staff, then he shall that smote him be quit. Only he shall pay for the loss of his time, and shall cause him to be thoroughly healed.
See that? So you beating your brethren and stuff, you jumping them and things like that, you causing all this damage to them and stuff. You're supposed to pay for their medical bills and help heal them the best way they can, and for lost wages, because they may be working or whatever the case may be. So that's the reason why we shouldn't be fighting one another. See that? But this is not being taught. Let's keep reading. Verse 20. Yeah, verse 20.
And if a man smite his servant or his maid with a rod, and he die under his hand, he shall surely be punished.
Wait a second. How many of the slave masters killed our people and stuff by beating them, whipping them 24/7, and they died? That slave master should have been put to death. Once again, you think this is a white man's book? You need to read these things. See, that's what they were doing. They weren't teaching this. They weren't letting our people know. We weren't speaking English. We were speaking Hebrew. We didn't know what English meant. They knew what it was, because the translations back from the 1600s dealing with King James, which was a black king, last ruling black king, who was fighting against the Pope for rulership and things like that. Well, the Pope was fighting against him because he was killing down the whole Christianity doctrine and stuff like that, was warned with him. So therefore, they twisted the scriptures and things like that. So we didn't speak English, we spoke Hebrew. But anyways, let's keep reading. Verse 21.
Notwithstanding, if he continue a day or two, he shall not be punished, for he is his money.
So with that being said, he didn't die, things like that, then he won't be put to death for that. So let's get the 11th law.
Okay, we need to close it.
Wait until they come down here and say
That would be right.
Okay. How many minutes? It's 2:08. Okay. Okay, I'll tell you what. We'll stop right here. We'll pick back up Exodus 21 and verse
22.
Verse 22.
Mm-hmm.
We'll pick up on next week. Okay, and that'll be that number of law would be the 11th law.
That was deep, because people don't get the full context and understanding of what these laws saying. They just say, "Oh, well, the servants will pay a master." Woo.
Yeah.
They don't actually know what the depth of. Okay, this actually not a bad. This not servitude. Ain't nothing what I thought it was. This is a whole nother process going on here.
You see how deep that was? I mean, just getting a thorough understanding of what a Hebrew servant is supposed to do compared to a non-Hebrew servant and things like that. What's the difference? What the whole understanding of why these slave masters did this, and they try to sit there and say that, the Bible's a white man's book. It never belonged to so-called black people and things like that. They don't read these. And they just, like I said, they just go on based off emotions, based off of what they heard, being a bunch of parakeets and things like that, repeating what they heard off of YouTube. That's what it said. See? So this is the stuff we need to understand, and we need to get thorough understanding.
Right.
So it's refreshing to your mind. It brings balance. It's straight the word of the Most High.
And you get to know God's view on things. You seek his face.
Plain and simple.
Hallelujah.
Seeking the kingdom. So, anywho.
All right. What? Awesome job slaying the demons.
And there you go, and adding on.
Right.
Let me back it.
Yeah,
you know.
Labby back it. Not
Two
piggyback it. Labby back it.
Yep, 2 heads better than 1, you dig? So,
For
hey,
sure,
it was a blessing.
for sure.
So,
It was a
all
blessing.
praise and blessing the Most High.
All praises.
To Hamashiach
Shalom.
Yeshaya, or who say Jesus Christ, or Yahweh Shai, and walk with Dasha, walk the Holy Spirit. We out of here. Shabbat Shalom.